Galatians 3:29 says this, and if you are of Messiah, then you are seed of Abraham and heirs according to the promise. This Barry Phelps with 10-minute tour, day 4 of the Torah portion of V'eki. And yeah, we're still in chapter number 48 of Bereshit or Genesis. And today we read verse number 8 and following. Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, "Who are these?" And Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place." And he said, "Please bring them to me and let me bless them." And the eyes of Israel were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew them near him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, "I had not thought to see your face, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed." Now notice verse 12. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And we'll pick up there in a minute. This is perhaps one of the most significant areas of Scripture. The thread that is revealed to us here is one that continues now and plays a predominant role in the continuing from this point all the way to the end, even to our day. The way that Yah has created the plan of the ages is for this fantastic last days restoration and reconciliation of a people lost to themselves, to their history, to their destiny, to their calling, to their purpose. And as they find it out, they began to reinsert themselves into these roles, and power begins to show up again in the earth. Notice with me here that it says that Israel is the one that is speaking. And he says in verse 8, Israel saw Joseph's sons and asked, "Who are these?" But then we read down in verse 10 that the eyes of Israel were dim with age, and he was unable to see. Did he see them or not? Oh, he saw them. He didn't see them with physical eyes. Verse 8 is revealing to us, or perhaps we could say what verse 8 is saying to us, verse 10 clarifies and reveals. Israel saw Joseph's sons in the spirit, not just two, but an innumerable host. I said, "Who are these?" When I read that again today, it just flew all over me. He was seeing in the spirit realm, my interpretation, my preaching here. And Joseph said, "They are my sons whom Elohim has given me in this place." Where? In Mitzrayim, and the symbolic land of the world. And he said, "Bring them to me and let me bless them." He blesses them to put the name of the fathers upon them. It says in verse 13, "And he blessed Joseph and said, the Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak walked, the Elohim has fed me all the day to this life. The messenger has redeemed me from all evil. Bless the youths, and let my name be called upon him in the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak." He is calling them Israel, and he is calling them the carriers of the lineage of the seed and the inheritors of the land. So Joseph brings them forth from his knees. Out from his loins comes these people groups. And they are to receive this blessing to be upon them. So he says in verse number 11 then, "I had not thought to see your face, Joseph, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed." And again, I'm thinking that it's more than just these two young men, perhaps older teenagers at this time at least. But Yah has given him a prophetic vision. Now he is counting them among the tribes of Israel. And he takes his hands to place upon them a blessing, crossing his hands, taking the right hand of prominence and preeminence and first, laying it on the head of the younger, Ephraim, and taking the left hand, the second place, and put it on the older brother, Manasseh. Joseph sees this and said, no, Daddy, you got it wrong. You got the wrong hand on the wrong son. He says, I know what I am doing, Joseph. I know what I am doing. And so in verse 16, we read this. Again, let my name be called upon them in the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. The Hebrew phrase there is, let them grow into a vayidagu larov. Dag is the word in Hebrew for fish. Let them become a multitude like fish in the midst of the earth. Find that significant? No wonder then Yeshua called his earlier disciples, Yochanan, Kepha, Andrew, and Yaakov, and called them to be fishers of men. Not putting a hook in their jaw, but rather casting a net. Casting the net of the word of the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom, to catch fish for Yeshua. Giving them the power to haul in the house of Ephraim, those sheep that were lost. Now, Yaakov then prophesies and says in verse number 19, he says concerning Manasseh, he says, he also becomes a people, and he also is great, and yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. This is vitally important to us. While Manasseh is great and is to be a great people, there is Ephraim that is to be greater. In Romans chapter 11, verse 25 and 26, the Apostle Paul says, for I do not wish you to be ignorant of this secret, brothers, lest you should be wise in your own estimation, that hardening in part has come over Israel until the completeness of the nations. It's the same phrase, Melo Hagoim, the fullness of the nations, that Yaakov or Israel announced over Ephraim, until the completeness of the nations has come in. I mentioned this verse in Ephesians chapter 2 yesterday, but let me read it for you here today. And let's begin with verse 11. Therefore, remember that you, again, this is Ephesians 2, once nations, goyim, Gentiles in the flesh, who were called the uncircumcision by what is called the circumcision, made in the flesh by hands. That is, the Jews call everyone who is not Jewish a Gentile or a goyim. And it says in verse 12 that at that time you were without Messiah, excluded from the citizenship of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no expectation and without Elohim in the world. Now hold on to that verse and we'll come back. But now in Messiah Yeshua, who were once far off have been brought near by the blood of the Messiah. There's been a rectification taking place. Now, those of us that were excluded from the citizenship of Israel in Messiah, we're included. And we're no longer a stranger, but a participant of the covenant of promise. And we have expectation, and Elohim is with us in the world. So it says here that he is to completely restore to favor both of them, both the Jews and the Gentiles, unto Elohim in one body through the stake, having destroyed the enmity by it. We are a part of a great last days restoration. join in and take your part. And I'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.